Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the very first edition of Fully Charged, the European edition, so to call it. Obviously, the North American edition, hosted by Sal and Seabear, has been existing for a very long time, but we decided, you know what, we need a European edition, and that's what we're going to do here tonight. My name is Pledge, and Admirable, with his stupid hat, is going to decide to be sitting right next to me tonight. James, how are you doing tonight?
Just wheeling out the hats. You know, I know what TF2 people like. They like hats, man. Hats.
Yeah. So I think we were debating it before the show, right? Should we just do all hats? I think that's going to be a great idea. CanFo is also going to be on the show. You can see his webcam, his smiley German face. CanFo is the ETF2 head admin and also one of the leaders of the new project, ESA, which got started up a week ago or so, week and a half ago, something like that. So we're going to be able to talk to him about that and about stuff like that. And apart from CanFo, we also have Mr. Ips here. And Ips, obviously not the Crackline soldier anymore, but nowadays the leader, the team leader, the main caller and everything of Zaibatsu. And we're going to ask him about just Crackline in general, how his team is doing, and all that other stuff. Ips, how are you doing today?
I'm feeling very, very good. I annoyed and unlocked the whole evening, so I'm in a really good mood.
Oh, that sounds great. You guys played against Epsilon earlier today, didn't you?
Yeah.
How did that go?
Good.
Thanks for the insight. I like obviously I was casting. I couldn't see it on Numlock stream, but I saw them playing earlier. How did Mick do actually? Because Mick obviously plays for he didn't actually play for Epsilon, but he trialed. I heard Denver. How did Mick do in your opinion?
The French Mick?
I think that he's not up to notch with the speed that they're playing, and I don't think I felt today that they were a bit hindered by the medic trial that they had. They felt a lot more fluent and they had a lot better synergy when they played with Endocraw. That's just my 5 cents to that. I can't really I'm not playing in that team, so I can't judge it. He did his serves, he dropped his Ubers from time to time. It's cool, that happens, so I don't want to really judge that.
It sounds good, and obviously with regards to today's edition of Fully Charged, it's the first edition. We're kind of still testing the waters a little bit, I'm not going to lie. Like, we're on webcam for the very first time. James just keeps laughing at webcams and probably reading the chat pretty much all the time, James. That's what you're doing, right? You're just reading the chat.
Dude, a silent laugh here. I'm sorry, the chat's hilarious. I'm getting a lot of love in the chat, man. Just try to compose myself, when this happens.
That's all right.
Deep breaths.
I haven't seen yet how the overlay looks, but I hope the overlay is good, guys. I hope all of that looks good. Today, we're going to talk just in general about the Premiership and Division 1 that has happened over the past week. Here at Team Fortress, we cover that pretty much every day we can. And we'll be going over that. Who's in the lead? Who's showing good performances? And obviously with Ips from Zaibatsu here, and even CanFo, obviously, he watches every day, as far as I know, as the ETF2 head admin. And James, who's casting with me, at least today, at least. And we're going to be looking into that. And then we're also going to move on over to ETF12, ESA, and just the amount of European tournaments, because we're kind of lacking them a little bit. So we're going to be talking about that because last season, Esports Heaven, Excello, a couple, to name a couple, were there. And now it just seems a little bit empty. Are the teams going to be annoyed by that? In general, do we miss that? And then straight after that, we're going to hop on over to the Crackline situation. What happened exactly there? I'm not going to ask for a scoop, but I'm wondering what the hell is going on with the team because they changed YouTube channels, and I want to hear all of that from Ips and Admirable, who are obviously a part of that squad for a long time. And after that, with CanFo here, obviously, it would be a little bit rude not to talk about ETF2. How's the season been so far? And with regards to the maps, unlocks, competition, playoffs going up, what is sort of the general consensus with ETF12 coming up, guys? That's pretty much what we're going to be talking about today. Now, obviously, ETF12, it's in week, I believe it's at the end of week 6 right now, CanFo. I'm correct in that, right? Okay, so a lot of people have still not played their week 6 games. Nothing is crazy about that whatsoever nowadays. I've seen a couple of teams, I think Broder's done. They had like a week off, and now they've got 12 maps played. So very well played.
Yeah, maybe. No, wait, let me check.
We haven't played them.
Yeah.
I think Broder got 12.
They're playing Zaibatsu next week.
Playing Zaibatsu next week. Do you have a date on that, Ips?
Nope. And I'm not really too sure when this is going to happen.
Yeah. So obviously we're gonna have a little bit of a look at that. That's a game. Obviously, I want to sort of look back at last week and obviously look forward to next week because that's really important. And over the past week, I think the one surprising result that we saw was today. And actually, it wasn't on the Team Fortress TV stream. Over at Vanilla TV, there was a cost of Skipmark Central going up against Last Man Standing. And Last Man Standing took a map out of them. I doubt any of you actually saw that game. CanFo, have you been following the score by any chance?
Yes.
What happened
I've seen
there?
that game. I've actually only seen the first map, but actually, Last Man Standing was even playing with a Merc. Sickles was standing in for Mighty Me because his internet was down, and Sheepy was merking as a scout.
Yeah.
They did pretty well on process, but lost anyway. And then, well, I tuned out. I don't know what happened on Granary. I just noticed later they won the map.
I talked a bit to
Congratulations.
Cadis a couple of minutes ago. If you want to listen to what he had to tell me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Granary basically said went down like that. They lost every mid, and then that's it on a map like Granary. Like when you don't get the enemy medic and they basically wipe you, then the game is over pretty fast. And that's how Granary went down. What was the other map? I don't know about the other
Process.
map.
Was it Process?
Process.
Granary
Process
Process?
Granary, yeah.
It said Viaduct just now, but
It's a bit weird with that team. I expected them to be better than they are now, but I feel because I'm pretty close to the members of the team that the only thing that they're missing, or the only thing that is in their way to becoming really good, is always just the mindset. Like they're not missing DM. They have a DM heavy scout, and then they have a backcap scout basically, right? Like a sneaky one and one that just runs into the enemy team. And they have Cadis, and he knows what he's doing. And they're, I don't know, they can lift themselves out of there if they really just try and change their mindset.
Have you played Last Man Standing recently, Ips? Have you played them somewhere this week?
No,
because obviously they changed their complete roster, right? Like they had a couple of players there, and now suddenly with Mighty Me there, things are changing a little bit.
Yes,
Who
and
else?
War.
Yeah, War is obviously there. And I think Ali is back up even, so he plays from time to time. I don't know exactly what's going on there at Last Man Standing.
Last time we played was in the official on Viaduct, and I reviewed the stream VODs of War when they played against us, and they really didn't care, so I can't really read anything into that, and I don't know how they actually play together, how the synergy is, like, because they said they're going to throw it basically, and that's what they did. Like you could clearly see on the last rounds of the last fading 2 minutes of Viaduct, they were just throwing people at us and made it a bit of a TLR walkway there.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at the moment at the ETF12 tables here on the side, and I'm quite sure that Adam can bring that up here for you guys here in just a little bit. Scarride, who's just hosting everything at the moment, making sure everything looks fine. I'm sure he can bring that up for you guys so you don't have to do it yourself. And Last Man Standing, this was the first map they've won all season, against Skipmark Central for that matter as well. And when I spoke to Mighty Me last week after that official, he said very clearly, I think we can make sure that we don't relegate. He said, I think I can make sure that doesn't happen. And Finland pretty much said, no, we're looking up. We're not the idea that we're actually getting relegated has never actually showed up in our head. One of those two is going to relegate. That's what it looks like, at least to me. Which one is it going to be? You guys have any idea? Take a guess, James. I know you're busy laughing, but please.
This is what a trap I fall into. Whenever I'm watching a game on STV, man, I get enthralled in the chat. I have no idea what you're talking about. Please repeat the question, please.
It was a mistake getting you on the first show, wasn't it? That Addy kid. I want that Addy kid to be here, but he's going to be here every Thursday apart from today. You're cut already, James. No, I was talking about basically Last Man Standing and 90 Degrees, previously Finland.
Mm-hmm.
They've both very clearly said, I think we're not going to relegate. One of them, or Solar, is going to relegate. Even Skipmark Central. Like, I'm looking at Skipmark Central at the moment. Maybe even that is still possible. Who do you think is going to drop out of Prem? No one is going to actually drop as a team. Someone has to go down.
Well, you know what? I was just looking at the fixtures and the tables tonight before our cast, and I was looking at the fact that Skidmark were playing LMS, and I was like, counting that, this is definitely a win for Skidmark. So this means that it's going to be a real close battle for fourth, but the fact that they actually took a map tonight is like a real surprise to me. I have no idea what's happening there. There's some sort of metamorphosis going on in their team. So I'm just like you, man. I have no clue. But before that, I would have said LMS absolutely to be relegated. But maybe they found some magic formula to make things work.
Beating Skipmark 5-2 is pleasantly surprising to me, at least. It makes things a little bit more interesting. And you can see Now with Revolution obviously losing to Broder tonight, you can see very clearly there's almost a gap now between the top 3 and the rest. Like previously, I would have said there's a gap between like the top 3 and then like 2 teams that are good and then the 3 bottom. But now it just seems like a massive pile of people that are about the same skill level there on the bottom. Ips, do you have any opinion on who's probably going to end up relegating?
Between RLM and Last Man Standing?
Just in general, because there's about 5 teams that can still relegate.
I feel that RLM has the key people in there and the people that already have some Premiership experience, and they don't want to get relegated. They care, and from what I've heard so far, I don't really know if Last Man Standing cares that much in the end with all the roster changes. I expect RLM to stay in and LMS to leave after the season and going into Div 1. They probably don't want to play Div 1, so they will. I don't know.
Well, there's actually one interesting fact, and CanFo, you probably were onto this one. Revolution and Metagame got a point deduction of 1 point for catching 3 minor warnings.
Minutes ago. Yep.
Just a second ago.
Big smile on your face. You're such an admin bastard.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy when this happens. And I'm actually sad that it's I like to Spin's team again. They didn't submit the nickname for their Merc, so they got a warning. It was the third, so
the third minor warning.
That hurts.
Unable to provide requested demo, scheduling violation, and nickname rule violation. 3 minor warnings. Minus 1 point. I think if I'm thinking, that means that the game between Skipmark and Revolution, it means that Revolution is not allowed to tie anymore. It means they have to win, basically. Thinking about it, Revolution has to win in order to make 4th from the top of my brain, and Skipmark is fine tying and being perfectly fine coming 4th. Then, in all honesty, though, is it going to matter? CanFo, like you've seen the games, you've seen these teams develop in ETF2 on season 15 so far. Is the 4 team actually going to be able to do anything in the playoffs?
Probably not. But when was that ever the case?
I don't know. A couple of seasons ago, I guess. Like last season, wasn't it last season where BFF and Broad actually had a good game, or BFF and Crackland? What was it?
I'm not quite sure, but I think it was either the first, second, or third who won the Premiership in the end.
Yeah. Well, either way, but BFF obviously has done well for a couple of seasons now. Well, Cada's teams, let's put it that way, have done well. And so for this season, they've had a little bit of a rough season. Ips, you've probably played them more than any of us are combined. Do you know a clear reason why Skipmark is just not doing as well as they probably were expected to?
They have the problem that I'm very glad about that I don't have it. It feels like they have one guy really caring and really committing time to it, right? And Kate is, for me, and Brigo can say that to you as well. Or like Brigo came to me a couple of weeks ago and said, like, Cadis is playing so passive at the moment. I'm really not scared of him anymore, etc. And Cadis to me says that as well. Because he has to focus on so many things to fix the little details on left and right, main call as well. He can't play as dominant as he was before anymore, and it takes away a huge upgrade to his game style. Like he's still doing ridiculous amount of damage numbers there, but it's not that. He's not that present anymore, and that just shows in the end, right? Like his team then falls into like this pit of not calling, and nobody really can be asked staying in there anymore, and then that just turns around and bites you back in the end. And I feel that is really just, that's what I said before. It's a mindset problem of people not reading too much into PCWs and getting into this mode like, okay, we're going to lose anyway. And then if you get into this mode, you're obviously not going to care about the next week. And that's something, for example, that we never did. We took a scrim as a scrim and then analyzed the flaws that we had and then improved on it on the next week. And that's really important. Like, we're not just playing for wasting time. We want to get better in the end.
With regards to the difference that we see between the top 3 and the rest?
Yeah, between the whole...
What's the main thing? Is it just mindset?
Well,
really?
The main thing not necessarily is aim or anything. It's a synergy, right? The team play of the teams. And that doesn't come with just people showing up for 2 hours a night and DMing it and then leaving and being annoyed that they lost again. It's about growing together as 6 individuals, becoming one unit, and then work on the flaws like I said it. Like, that's the only way you can progress.
James, what's going on?
He's just making funny faces all the time.
He's making, yeah. Sometimes I
child, I'm
catch a
sorry.
glimpse. You're just, what's going on in the chat at the moment, James? What's going on?
Just
kind of
Vig
having a
is
look.
asking me to put a hat on. I think he wants to cover up the gift from God that is my beautiful cranium, but that ain't gonna happen, bro.
What
That ain't
happened to
gonna
your hair
happen.
anyway, man? Like, did you just
Shaved it
decide,
off,
you know
man.
what,
I
screw that,
wanted to
screw
be
that head,
streamlined.
screw that hair thing. I'm lazy. Let's just completely cut it off.
I thought it was thinning out a little bit, so I just jumped the gun there and went straight to bald. And it's been that way for about 9, 10 months now. I'm happy with it, man. I've grown to embrace it, but I do look a bit like Uncle Fester from the Addams Family,
Adam, I want that image right now on stream. I want an image of Uncle Fester right there next to James's face. I'm sure we can make that happen. I should probably open up the stream. Actually, I want to see that. But with regards once again to the top 3 teams in the rest, James. You've casted not as much as I have, but you've casted quite a bit this season, at least over the past 2 weeks. What is the main thing? Because obviously you were in one of the top 3 seasons last season. What is the thing that just differentiates the top teams from the rest?
Well, just I've got a little theory about Skidmark in particular. There's like an unwritten rule in TF2 that is, if you have more than 2 Brits in your team, you cannot win. So I think they're just sort of doomed from that perspective. I mean, you got Kiedis, Greg, who are pretty opinionated. That's just a clash waiting to happen. You throw Skeege in there too. Man, I don't see that team lasting for long. I suppose you got like Flisco and Dallas, who don't say much at all. But going back to the actual question rather than my mad theories, the difference is just like the desire and the amount of time you're prepared to put in. Like Broder say they don't watch demos, Epsilon would say that they don't put in much work, and everybody thinks it's like Crackland, sorry, Zabatsu that are the keenest. But really, these guys do put a lot of thought into the game. And well, obviously they're great players, but you can see in all these sub top 3 teams there are great players, but they just don't come together. They haven't sat down and had these fucking long and difficult conversations where you really have to pick each other's play style apart and ask, like, spell out exactly what you want from somebody, because everybody's had their own experience growing to play TF2. Like everybody has their own little ways of doing things, and you really need to come together as like one mind. And Epsilon are the team that do that the best. You see, whenever the plays break down, they just destroy teams. It doesn't matter if they've been outplayed, like tactically or sorry, strategically. It's just like in the firefights, they know exactly who to kill, and that's so hard to play against. And no team is at that level yet.
Oh, I think you mentioned it today during the cast as well. Like Broder tries to do it, but they're not really there yet, right? Like they fight, and yeah, they do the exact same thing as Epsilon is doing, but they don't feel as refined and as perfect yet as Epsilon feels from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, you see great individual plays from Broder. I mean, maybe that's how I would separate. Like I'm putting Epsilon on a pedestal here, and then like you say, I haven't seen that much of this season, but before in Broder's play, I saw a lot of big plays. It was like Zebasai going in on an Uber and just killing 2 or 3 players. Cookie just working the flank, getting all these picks. But Crack Clan, maybe their players were less well known a few seasons ago. They were just seen as this teamwork team, where they sort of played off each other and created situations for each other. But Broder, it was sort of more of a big individual plays. And I think that's something they really worked on, especially towards the end of last season when they beat us. Like, still. But what was your question anyway? I'm just rambling.
What about, like, we haven't seen Zaibatsu or the old Crackline basically for some time now. Ips, how are you guys comparing to Broder and Epsilon at the moment?
Absolutely no idea how we are compared to Broder. We had some decent results in the last couple of weeks against Epsi, but I'm perfectly aware that is just scrims, right? Like I would never go that far and illusion myself to say, okay, we beat them once 5-0 or whatever, or tonight we had like 5-4, 5-4 was the scores, and both of them had mercs in or trials. It is, I think, for me, a mistake to read something into that. What helps me more to define how how we are gonna play against each other in the end is to see, like, watch the match that I played against Broder to see and compare myself to Broder then, instead of doing this direct comparison.
Yeah. I want predictions from you guys right now. Top 4 at the end of the season. CanFo.
Okay.
Well, Epsilon, Zaibatsu, and Broder is pretty much set.
In what order?
They are in the top 4 at least.
In what order? I want the order of the top 4 at the end of the season.
I think Epsilon is going to end up first. Although Epsilon versus Zaibatsu should be an interesting match next week. I think Zaibatsu will win against Broda and take second. Broda is staying third. No idea about the fourth. Could go either way. Everybody, apart from, actually everybody still has a chance to end up fourth. I don't know. Maybe Skidmark Central somehow make it. Maybe RLM stay there.
Come on, man, make a decision. Just put your
Okay, then I
reputation on
just
the line.
RIP
Pick a
headphone
team.
RLM
users.
because I feel a bit of pity for them because we always have to punish them.
Thank you.
James?
I'm gonna
Do I need to
say.
repeat the question for you, or you
No,
want to chat?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Chat's been closed. I'm just not gonna look down there. Yeah, I reckon maybe Epsilon for number 1. That'd be a pretty safe bet. I'm gonna put Crack Clan at 2. I think Broder have been sort of.
Zaibatsu.
Oh yeah, Zaibatsu. I think
Just
Broder have
returning the
been
favor.
a little bit unfortunate in that they've had these 3 wins this week, probably riding high in confidence, but they've had 3 sort of easy wins. That might give them a bit of a false sense of security going into this Crack Clan game, whereas they've been, or sorry, Zaibatsu game. God damn it, Ips.
It's gonna
Whereas
take
they've been
us a
focusing
while
on
to
this.
fix that, right? Like, we're gonna have to cost all.
I haven't
these
seen enough games, but you know,
to-
obviously, I'm gonna say Zaibatsu number 2, Broder 3, and Revolucion La Meta game number 4. There you have it.
Sounds good. Ips, can you name anyone apart from yourself up top?
It's playoff position, right?
Yeah,
I just literally want the top 4. Everyone just.
That goes into the playoffs. Like we talk about playoffs.
No,
like
not just the 4 who go into playoffs. Just who's gonna end first, who's gonna end second. Who's gonna...
chances are very high Epsilon is going to end first, so I will seed them first. We are definitely going to get second, and Bros is going to get third. And then I will go for LM as well. Like I can't be not confident about the Broder game. It's going to be a tough match, and we will have to do our homework. What we've been playing for, a couple of weeks now towards this game. Watch demos, etc. Even though people call it too keen, I'm not like I said before. We want to win this, and then we're going to see. Second is what I'm really aiming for. Like I want to be second, but actually I want to beat Epsi. But chances are high they're just going to make it again.
Is that like the big Zaibatsu goal this season? Beat Epsilon at least once?
Oh, yeah. Well, for us, I said it a couple of weeks ago in some podcast or on Mr. Slin's stream or something as well. And I feel that this season, right before the I-49, is becoming some sort of test bed and test situation for the teams, right? And how they're going to perform at LAN against each other. So I want to end up as high as possible and take as much practice out of this season as I can to then perform for the I-49, because the event itself is just going to be huge with the teams attending. You can call it like a world championship of Team Fortress 2, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically like
so the
it's
goal
like the Olympics, right? It's basically the World Championship. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I guess I have to give my official prediction as well. Let's be completely honest. Epsilon first. Not Crackland, but Zaibatsu second. Broda third. And Skipmark Central. Skipmark Central 4. Because the All England rule has to be broken at some point. They're four people from the UK. They have to at some point the UK needs to do all right.
Their comms should be super awesome, but it isn't the case. It's weird.
Well, I guess. Looking at the upcoming week, though, obviously we looked a lot for in the future. The upcoming week is going to be week 7. It's going to be the final week of ETF. So obviously after that we have like a sort of catch-up week. What maps are you playing as Broder and Epsi? Like I know what maps for 6 or 7 are Ips, but
we're
against
playing.
Zaibatsu. Did I say Crackland again? I don't remember. I see James suddenly doing like this.
Viaduct and Balance against Epsi, which I really like because, it's good. These are good maps for us. We really like Viaduct because it is essentially a really team-based and DM-heavy map at the same time, and you have to have good synergy and good scouts. Like our scouts are so good on this map; it's really amazing at times. And Badlands, like you can apply everything you do on Viaduct on Badlands. So we will see. We had good games on Badlands against them, and they destroyed us on Badlands. It's good like that we meet on a map like Badlands that everyone has played 1 million times. Like at the moment, we struggle a lot, for example, on Granary, and I can't imagine playing a team like FC on Granary, where they just with their sheer experience in the roster could just outmaneuver us within seconds. Like that's really a map we have to look into. And then I think against Broder, the maps are. Let me check this really quick. I'm on it. It's Badlands and Gullywash, and that's basically a safe bet then. Because Broder,
which is just
like
the standard of maps, right? Like
yeah, Badlands is a good map. Gullywash also becoming a good map. So we will see. Like, I'm having a good feeling.
CanFo, I'm going to put you on the spot. You did this on purpose, right? Like you put all the close maps in week 7 with the standard maps. Did you actually do it on purpose?
Of course. It's interesting to see that
Predictions were right, I guess.
Saibatsu Cracklan is happening in the last week, and also Vinland or 90 Degrees FOV Esports,
Everyone
or however they call it. They are playing Last Man Standing, which could decide who gets relegated, and I'm actually really excited for the next week.
You're really happy with your predictions. You know we're going to have to make choices, right? There's only 5 days, and teams always double schedule. So always, we're just going to blame you, basically.
Some matches have been wildcarded, and they can be played in the catch-up week.
I'll have to wait and see. James, are you going to be around all next week?
Yeah, man. I'm trying to make myself available to cast whenever. I missed it.
Next week, then.
But, I'm just spreading myself out really thin. You see me on Vanilla T, you see me on Blackout Gaming TV.
You were Blackout the other day, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Like, Aglas, shout out to Aglas, great co-caster. I think that kid's got potential. But, I just like to have as many casting partners as possible. Don't take it personally, Pledge, but,
No, it's fine.
I like to spread the wealth.
Yeah, I saw you spreading some love to Scully.
Oh, yeah.
The other day. Yeah. That was a little bit difficult to take, I'm not going to lie. It was a little bit difficult.
Oh.
It's okay.
I made him make those high-pitched noises, but that just... You thought only you could do that? Only you could make Scully squeal? Sorry, baby.
Oh, God, I miss Scully.
I
miss him so much, dude. I swear to God, I miss the guy to bits, but doesn't mind. How are you looking forward to next week? Yeah. How are you looking forward to next week? Because basically, number 1, 2, and 3 are all playing each other. Number 4 and 5 are playing each other, and the bottom 3 are all playing each other. CanFo made it so that we have a super week of all the most important games all packed into 1 week, and everything is going to be close and awesome.
It was actually Sonny Black, but
it's going to be tough to cast all these games. I don't think you thought this through well, Sonny Black. Yeah, no, that sounds great, man. I mean, the game I wanted to see the most was RLM against Vinland. I thought that was going to be the game. That was the game I'd originally signed up for to cast with you tonight on Team Fortress TV. Yeah. But then it got wildcarded. So, yeah, I'm hyped, man. That's the game I really, really want to see. Because the other ones really aren't that important. I mean, Broder versus Zabatsu is going to be a great game. I don't know if that's next week. But, like, they're all getting to the playoffs. It doesn't matter. We're going to see the same games anyway. I want to see RLM just come through strong. I believe in Walters, even though he played absolutely terrible tonight.
34 deaths on process. I think it's been a while since I saw that. I think 34 deaths. Quite sure. I'm trying to think, but it was not pretty. Let's put it that way.
I just sort of I go week by week with the Casa man. On a Sunday, I'll be like just messaging all these groups saying I'm available. Throw me some games. I'm not following the schedule per se, but now you've got me hyped up, man. You've let me know. I'm excited.
Okay,
you can see it in my face. I'm so pumped for next week.
James, fair enough. Cast with me every day next week. All 5.
You see, I'm trying to be a diplomat, I'm trying to.
I know you always try to do this, man.
I'm making you look bad, Pledge. You quit on Vanilla. I said, I was gonna cast for everybody. I was gonna be a nice guy. So now I'm just making you look like a dick. Checkmate, Pledge.
I like it. So this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to host a podcast, and then come on and make me look bad. I.
I'm having the time of my life. This is the greatest cast ever.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. I'm glad with how we organized it. I think it's good. Now let's switch topics obviously a little bit. ETF12 is going to be amazing, and with that, let's move on over to exactly what the sort of trend that we see happening here in Europe, ladies and gentlemen, is we can see the Americans seem to have stuff reasonably figured out. The way they play ESEA is very time consuming, and they manage to just get their stuff throughout the week sorted, and it's actually pretty impressive how they do it. Here in Europe, though, we pretty much play a game every week, and that's it. There doesn't really seem to be a lot anymore. Now, suddenly, about a week and a half ago, the ESA got formed, and ESA is the esports organization. That's right, CanFo. Yeah,
Electronic Sports Association. That's correct.
The esports organization got formed, which you can find at I forgot to. What is the website, dude? What is the
ESAgamer.com.
ESAgamer.com is where you can find them. And obviously, that's some sort of a league that really focuses on 5 games to start with, right, CanFo? You're probably the guy to really talk about this because this popped up and it caught my eye because it came at a time where there was really nothing else apart from ETF12 here in Europe.
Yeah. Well, it's not been formed 1.5 weeks ago. It's been in the works for over a year now, but it's finally been released, and I'm really happy about that. Well, what the ESA is basically trying to do is give teams an opportunity to play a tournament every week, and if they desire to do so, win money. That's basically you pay a subscription fee, and with this subscription fee, you're eligible to win money in all the subscription tournaments. And on top, we have the option to also organize invite-only tournaments or pay-to-play tournaments if that's wanted by the community. And I think it's a really great chance for the Team Fortress 2 community to have more tournaments on a regular basis.
Now, what was the sort of the first thing? When did this first arise? You said it's been in the works for almost a year now. When did this appear? When was there a specific reason why you guys said, you know what, we're going to make this?
I'm involved since January, I believe, when Ditch or Mike, the owner, he approached me and he mistook me for Grasp because of my nickname on IRC. And he told me about ESA, and he assumed I knew everything already, and I turned him down, and I had no clue what he was talking about. And then, but I was interested. And then later, well, I discovered that he was mistaking me for Grasp, and I showed interest. I got involved. I've been working a lot since January to make this happen. Really glad that it's finally that we could finally reveal what we had in the works for you.
Yeah, it sounds good. What is the plan? What is the plan? Like, obviously, I've read it, but to all the people out there who have no idea, you can go over to esagamer.com and obviously read up on it. But what clearly is the plan? Are you going to run weekly tournaments? Is that a thing?
Yes.
And how much support have you had so far?
We will run weekly tournaments on one-day tournaments, most time on a Sunday probably, because that's when people can play over the day. The opening tournament is next week on Sunday with, for now, 64 slots that can be increased to 128. And it's going to feature a prize pool of £1,250. And you can even win if you don't have a premium account. So
it's just to open it up, I guess. That's like the
that's personally pledged by Mike, by the owner. He got some money in the bank, and the top 16 win. So even if you're not one of the top teams, you still have a chance to snatch something.
It's next week on Sunday. That is the, let's see, for the 23rd.
23rd, yes.
23rd, yeah. Okay.
Starting at about 12 CEST in the noon.
Oh, it's going on all day. Like you basically started. Oh Christ, it's going to be one of those tournaments.
Yeah, and that's going to be the model. Although in August, I believe we will start ranked tournaments, so you're not going to be seeded against the best teams if you're on the lower end of the skill bracket, and you still have a chance to win money in your bracket. That's the beauty.
That's actually quite nice. James, have you taken a look at this yet?
Yeah, I really actually.
He subscribed.
I think it's a great system. You know, the fact that everybody can get money, but also that you can play even if you don't want to pay, and obviously you don't get anything in return. But I mean, that's one of the big barriers I've seen to TF2 sort of entering into this pay-to-play system, that there just aren't enough people who'd be willing to play, because like you don't really see upsets that often in TF2 amongst the top teams. Like, sure, we saw Skidmark lose a map to LMS today, but you don't see Epsilon, you don't see Broder losing maps to these crap teams.
They never choke.
But like it's not that unpredictable. So like teams can easily just say, "Oh well, we're in no chance of winning here. Why would we pay to play?" But at least we can still have the competition. I think that's great. Like CanFo said, I signed up. I would advise anybody to sign up. Like, I know I'm really reckless with money, but it's only 25 quid for the year. I'm probably not even going to play. I just thought I'd chip in there. But like, you can pay a £5 a month or 25 quid for the year. I don't know if that offer's still going. CanFo, please tell me.
I think it still is.
Is that a general offer? Or is that just?
No,
just
that's an opening offer. So be quick.
Oh, yeah, I'll go and do that. When is that going through? Do you have any idea? Is that like throughout the next week or so?
I don't know how long. I could
Probably
ask
till the
Mike.
first day of tournament, probably.
I have no clue actually. Sorry.
Well, we're gonna have to look that up.
I'm assuming it's gonna be there for a couple of weeks.
Oh, that'd be nice. No, I'll sign up. I'll do that tomorrow. Like, I was planning actually to sign up yesterday. I got busy doing this whole casting business thing, so I didn't actually end up having time. But I'll sign up for that. I was reading through it. Ips, did your team sign up for this? Did you guys look into it?
Yes, 2 nights ago.
Okay.
Mike just confirmed that it's gonna be there for a while.
Yeah.
The special offer.
Okay, he's listening actually. So that's
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's really nice.
Who's
So
listening?
in case we ever have a thing, then obviously you can.
Mike.
Mike
Not
is the
Epsilon
owner.
Mike,
Yeah.
but Mike, owner.
Hello, Mike.
From PSA. Yeah, different Mike. But in general, you're going to be hosting multiple tournaments, right? Like TF2 is one of the opening titles.
Yeah. One of the 4.
Was there something, like, obviously you probably had something to do with it, right? Because I don't believe like the top main esports titles are there. I think they're focusing on more the underground titles, basically, so to speak.
Well, obviously the site is still in beta. We are looking to add more titles in the future, like League of Legends, maybe StarCraft, FIFA. But for now, we wanted to test it with a different set of games. Dota 2 is in there, CS:GO, who have many players, and then there's Quake Live and Team Fortress 2 have a diehard scene at least. Actually, I played no part in the selection because I got approached because Mike thought I could do something for the TF2 community at ESA.
Who is it? Like, I know you and Sonny Black are involved. Is there anyone else involved?
From the TF2 community, well, Bean or Isa Ninja, I don't know. Maybe you don't know him. He's Quake Live admin.
Oh, right.
But
so
he's also playing Team Fortress 2, yeah.
Okay, cool. Ips, you probably know, did any of the other top teams actually sign up for this? And are they getting involved?
He does. I have no idea about Broder.
I think I heard from Numlocked as well that they're getting involved.
Numlocked said he's going to sign up his team, yeah.
Okay. There's no reason for them to not to.
Like, James, do you want to make a team and get some quick cash?
I think Broder might run a fundraiser to pay their entrance fees. You know what I'm saying? Burn.
If they play next week, they don't have to pay an entrance fee, or they don't even have to pay premium.
They can win money for free. It's a little bit.
Yeah, it's free, and then from the money they win, they can just buy the next set of premium.
I cannot.
Awesome concept.
But no, obviously, with this coming up, this is nice. Like this, I cannot emphasize this enough. This is really, really good for Team Fortress 2, and that comes forward towards the sort of side topic with regards to this. Is just the fact that we don't really have a lot of tournaments. Is that something that's bothering you, like Ips, maybe in particular? Because obviously you're playing at the highest level. Do you miss competition from time to time? Because ETF12, it's only 1 day a week, right?
I honestly wouldn't mind tournaments, and I agree with you. There has been more tournaments in the past, but to be fair as well, like I never actively think about it. Like it doesn't there's not a week passing by where I think, oh, I would have liked a tournament here. At the moment, we are mid-season. If we talk about like pre-season or like between the seasons, then obviously there should be more tournaments and it would be awesome, but not mid-season.
Yeah, that's always the problem that we also ran into with the Excello tournaments. Teams just want to practice rather than play in a tournament where they are seeded against Epsilon and lose in the first round.
Deal with it.
Yeah,
It's
you could say deal
things.
with it, but most of the teams just say, okay, why should I waste my time playing against a team that's clearly better than us when I could at the same time.
That's the only way you get better, because you get whooped around like a little baby seal, yeah? 6 months, and that's the only way you get good, not by dodging them and not playing them.
What about, and I was thinking about this, like if you take, for example, if you take a Grand Slam in tennis as an example, like obviously you get points and money just for entering those things, right? What if you play a qualifier to get into one of those tournaments? Like you have a pre-stage, basically like the division brackets, where you have 64 teams playing for 8 slots into the massive tournament bracket. And the teams will be from Division 4 until Division 6. Would that make sense in any sort of way? CanFo as tournament organizer?
You're suggesting a new tournament setup now.
I'm suggesting that a fix for teams getting ruffle stomped by Epsilon in the first round and therefore not signing up could be to let them play against their own skill first to qualify for getting into that big tournament, and then only have the very best going up against each other, like the best 64 or something.
Oh yes, at Excello we tried to do that with. If you remember, we had an invite-only tournament with 8 slots and an open tournament where the winner was allowed to sign up for the invite tournament. But even then, in Team Fortress 2, there's a huge difference between Division 2 teams and Division 5 teams. And you almost never see any upsets. I regret that most teams see it that way, that they don't want to be ruffle stomped by Epsilon. I actually played against Dignitas about 3 years ago in some cup, and they played only with 5, and we lost within 10 minutes, but it was still fun.
I don't understand.
So it's not my personal opinion. It's just that the way I perceive it, that most teams see it that way. They want to play against teams of their own skill, and
but I don't understand that. Like, I really don't get the mindset. If you go into something like a tournament, right, and you have a really, really high competitive surrounding for, let's say, an time bracket of 2 days over a weekend, or you have it like one day on a Sunday, right? On 23rd.
Yeah, probably one day on a Sunday with the option to extend to.
You
Monday.
can't like. I can't understand people going in there and being like, okay, well, I don't want to get beaten, so that's why I don't sign up. You have to expect that, and obviously it's a bit unlucky if you play against the best, but that's only like you signed in because you're highly competitive and you want to get better. And if you're not good, then don't sign in. I really don't understand it, and I always was highly against these. Okay, we make like 3 different skill tiers, and we gave each one a prize, etc. Because you should get a prize for being the 3rd best skill tier or something in TF2. That's nothing. You want to be the best, and that's where you get stuff. So you either get good or you get out. Like, that's personally my opinion there.
Well, that's the way of competition in general, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's why the best teams in ESA, when we start the ranked tournaments, will enter a special monthly final at the end of the month with a huge prize.
Isn't that what they do in like the FA Cup or something like that? I think I saw someone mentioning that in chat earlier. I think it was Ali, who said very clear, like when they do the tournament aside from the league in football, right? They, yeah, I think it's the FA Cup. I think from the top of my head.
It's like the ETFL Cup, you know, where everyone.
Yeah, ETFL Cup did that as well.
Random draw.
You do the random draw, but then you let the Prem and Div 1 teams enter in like the the round of 32 or something.
That was that was actually a pain in the ass to organize that from a technical side, but it was perceived well, I guess.
The final was shit. Sorry.
Yeah,
like, that's the risk you return.
We didn't see the tournament.
It was an interesting journey there. Like,
what if you seed plus like do it that way, right? Like you let the teams enter in like the 3rd or 4th round, and then sure, you're still gonna have a couple of 5-0s, but that's okay because the teams have already made it far enough to reach the state where they're getting rolled by teams who are just so unbelievably good.
Well, yeah, that's an option, but that's nothing I will look into for ESA because I hope that the ranking system will take care of that.
Perfect. Sounds good to me. I know that Team Fortress TV is. I'm not allowed to. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I've been a part of this myself. I know they're busy arranging a tournament that will host a little bit after the summer in preparation for I-49. Where everyone can basically enter once again, and we're gonna get well, not everyone can enter, but it's gonna be like basically a pre-I-49 tournament, which should be really good. I'm very much looking forward to that. But again, apart from that, it seems like Excello and Esports Heaven in particular, because I can remember the two from last season, they just said, "Well, goodbye. We're not."
Excello didn't really say goodbye. It was more Sonny Black and me, the only admins left there, who didn't really have the time to host tournaments there, or we also thought it wasn't really worth it because we had to struggle to even get 20 teams to sign up, and Sonny Black asked all of his Steam friends to sign up.
His 4 Steam friends, sorry.
Yeah, but and all of that for 6 mouse mats. The turnout wasn't really great, so Sonny Black and I kind of stopped hosting these tournaments, and the owner actually asked us to host some more tournaments, but we just didn't have the time or didn't want to put the effort into it. At this point, I could probably say that Excello is looking for a Team Fortress 2 admins. If you want to host a tournament there, message me.
Pick me.
I would just pass it on to you. If you
I
want.
got something sort of based on this topic. Something I've posted about in admin forums and stuff before for a number of reasons, but the idea of just taking the prize money, I'm just talking purely about Prem here because, you know, I'm the Prem ambassador, but like taking that prize money from 1, 2, 3 and splitting it like all the way down to 8. And I know in Oz Forest, they did a thing where they paid people for map wins. And like that makes it so much more competitive because teams that are out of the running still have something to play for, like all the way till the end. Everybody can earn a little bit more. Like your placement really matters. I know the playoff makes it a bit different for the top 4, but there is always going to be this massive skill gap. So you need to offer teams a reason to get competitive, even if they're not competing for number 1, just to try and get one over their neighbors, other than just like the joy of kicking ass. I don't know. You know what I'm saying, CanFo?
Yeah, we actually looked into that kind of system, kind of bonus system for map wins. There's no decision yet, and we don't know yet if we're going to implement it, but it's definitely on the table. That's what you wanted to hear, right?
Yeah. Anyone else ever thought about that? Do you think that would be a good system? Ips, do you mind sharing your prize money with all the scrubs down to 8?
It's a joke anyway, so we can share whatever's there, so make it more competitive.
That's like a weird thing, actually. There's like this sort of phenomenon where Prem players have been crying out. I'm not talking about this current generation, but like Prem players since forever have always been demanding more money. But you know, whenever more money comes in, they're still like, oh, well, this isn't enough to make a difference. It's only $2,000. Like, I don't know what they're expecting. Like, they want $1 million TF2 tournament, you know, but it's true though.
Isn't that the dream?
Once you split it by 6, it isn't much, but it's something. It's like a token.
When was it 2K the last time?
2.5K. It was 2.5K in season 13, I believe.
Play. Shit.
After I-46 this season.
Was that whenever you were rocking out in
I'm feeling at the moment.
Pledge?
The prize pool is that small.
Hey, we were not
div
4. Can I just say, me and Ips, when we were in Dot Pixels, we were not div 4.
You were div 4. I was div 2. Either way, what I want to say, my point is, prize pool is that small. It wouldn't matter if you would have to share it in the end anyway, I feel like. And it's not. I'm not pointing fingers here. I'm not blaming anyone. It's just a sheer fact that it got smaller in the end. So yeah, I like the idea. You mean like people actually have an incentive to care, even though they can't really compete against the top 3 or whatever. They would at least have something out of it in the end. But yeah.
I want to kind of take our next topic that we have, which is about the multi-gaming organization. I kind of want to drag it in here because do you think that the lack of tournaments and the lack of prize money and everything that we're talking about right now, in what way correlates that to the amount of organizations that we can see supporting Team Fortress 2? Because CrackCon obviously now disappeared. I don't know if that was literally because they don't want to support Team Fortress 2 or anything else. Obviously, we'll get to into that in a bit. But in general, we had Dignitas, we had The Last Resort, Nitros was here for a while, Punchline. There were organizations here that, yeah, they might not do land funding or something like that, but they liked being involved. And now it kind of all just seems to be disappearing. Is there a clear reason for that, guys? Is the lack of tournaments, the lack of prize money, a clear reason for that?
Well, I was never on the lookout for an organization supporting my team as myself, but I can tell you that some multi-gaming organizations say, where are you playing in the ESL? And the answer is, well, we don't play ESL because ESL doesn't offer Team Fortress 2. And then they say, well, we're not interested then. So maybe dropping ESL was not the best decision our community made.
Is it that simple? Literally?
You idiots.
It's probably not. It's just one factor, but.
Well, of course,
we're
so
pretty big
small.
one.
We're not. With the TF2 content that we produce, even this year, right now, what we do is preaching to the choir. Right, we're reaching out to people that know about TF2, that basically also know about what is going on in Premiership TF2. They want a bit of gossip here and there, but in the end, we're not really creating much revenue for TF2. So as an organization from an outside, it's just a stale player base that from time to time gets like a bit more people in, but at the same time loses a lot of people on the other hand. So it just stays the same size. And over time, it's not really worth putting a lot of money into it. I would feel that way if I would run a multi-gaming organization and I had to fund teams, etc. or whatever. ETC or whatever. Wow.
You can look at it like, I suppose, as a chicken and egg situation, which is going to come first, like big tournaments or orgs. But I don't know, it's just like everything about TF2 screams, it's so amateurish. Like, we barely have decided on a universal rule set.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the competitive player base is so tiny compared to the public player base, and there's always bigger and better games coming out. Like, even if they're just flash in the pan things like Brink, you see those big money tournaments, like, that's where you're gonna go.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
there's loads of examples right there you can mention with regards to that. So you're absolutely correct.
Man, I tried to promote it for years. Well, I was pretty lazy, but on Cadred and different things like this, I'm not saying I was the only one. Dunk did a lot of work before that, doesn't get the credit for it, but various people have put in a lot of work to try and push things forward. I've made my peace with it a long time ago that, TF2 is never going to be that big unless like we have some sort of like Valve coming in and doing a TF2 international or something like that. But 5 years, 6 years soon, I'm sure it's been a great run, but I'm always going to keep trying to make things better. But
I think we all have that. Let's be honest, right? Like, I think we all have that. Like, in any sort of way, Admirable, and I know you're not very much involved into this, but regards to streams, we're actually getting quite high numbers at the moment, myself included. Do you think that might be able to help things forward from the position where we're in?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, streaming has been the thing that's kept TF2 alive after, like, free to play was a great shot in the arm, but Team Fortress TV, no disrespect to Vanilla, but like the fact that they bring this whole like streamer community together, like we learned a lot in Europe from the North Americans, especially when you had like people like Pure streaming, how they all played off each other and they had like this real community sense, or this like real sense of community amongst their streamers. And I think that's something like I see you and Numlock doing a little bit, where you're like really keeping people watching TF2 all day, and they're really getting an opportunity to see what it is we love about the game, but we've never really had that window to the wider world. I think Twitch has been the second biggest thing after free to play that's kept TF2 alive.
I love Ace saying in chat, "Don't worry, guys, Catman LAN is coming soon." Can you guys remember that when that happened? We all thought it was going to be the new thing, guys. I remember that.
Did we really?
Well, I think we were all a little bit skeptical, but I think we're all hoping for it a little bit. I think we were all sort of praying to God and being like, please, let this be it. It didn't. It didn't. No, he disappeared. But yeah, that's the way it is. Either way, is there anything we can do? Like, coming back to the lack of tournaments, the lack of MGOs, is there anything in particular, James specifically, like obviously as the ambassador of everything that is Team Fortress 2, CanFo's ETF2 admin, Ips as like the super high profile Team Fortress 2 player. What can we do to make the public see, hey, this Team Fortress 2 game, you can play this competitive and it's pretty damn cool?
get Valve to give us an in-game lobby system. Might help. Some sort of endorsement of competitive from Valve would help a little bit, but that's only going to help us within TF2 circles. I mean, we really put all our eggs in one basket last year with I-46, and I know I'm being really doom and gloom here, but ask yourself, like, what have we achieved from I-46? It wasn't the big turning point we thought it would be. We're going to have a great time at I-49. It's going to be bigger and better, but like, really, we need, I don't know, business-minded people or someone. Maybe it's going to be me now that I'm not playing, like, but somebody to really just get the motivation to go out and try and talk to people who can actually help us. Because as impressive as it is to like raise all this money for tip of the hats or fund all these teams to I-49, it's just like it's a drop in the ocean. It's not long term. Oh man, it's just like it's frustrating because we do so many awesome things.
Yeah.
It's like we didn't use the momentum from I-46 to really get anywhere, and that's like I can hold my hands up and say I didn't do anything, but that's always been the way it is. There's like just a few people at the top. That's the same in any scene, I suppose. There's always been a few contributors really trying to push things forward, and maybe there was a vacuum after I-46. Everybody was a bit burnt out, but I think this time we could really use that and like the hindsight from I-46 to try and hit the ground running after I-49, because the event's going to be great no matter what. It's what happens in the immediate time after that.
Let's see how long we have to wait for that documentary.
Is there going to be an I-49 documentary?
I read the Team Fortress TV forum post a couple of weeks ago where Salamancer was really angry about people asking in a semi-aggressive, passive fashion where this documentary is, etc. But in the end, that's exactly what the people that fundraised the teams there and wanted to see this event happening expected to be made as soon as possible. Like we had this attention for TF2 for a while. You saw on different non-TF2 sites that people were talking about the event, etc. So you have to get that content out there as fast as possible. And then for the people involved to say, okay, now we're almost 1 year in and you're not allowed to be angry about that it is not there. It's a bit weird. Because it was the springboard that we wanted to create for competitive TF2 and we didn't. Like, there's absolutely no exposure about the content that was created there, nor like was any hype created for the next one. It's all just it's in the same circle jerks. Like the whole content is somewhere locked up, and we gave the content to a guy. And I know I'm gonna make people angry if I say it. We gave it to a guy that was very far behind with his moments of glory already, or whatever he did, that is top 10 place of the month. Like he was 6 months behind, and we gave it to the same guy, and now we're 1 year in, and we're not allowed to say to point out that it's a bit of a hoax, because I think there are more there are people out there that would have done
change,
it
like the documentary
far quicker. Like their Bones was there, and I saw Bones doing like a forum post on ETF12 after I-46, asking about frags, wanting to make like a frag movie, and there was something going on with demos, etc. Where's all this stuff? Like we don't practice for we don't practice for these tournaments, and we don't create hype for it as teams as well. If then after one, no one uses it, so it's a hoax. Like that's a big joke. And I hope after I-49, I'm gonna drop out for a while, and hopefully I'm coming back, and then by the time I come back, there's hopefully an I-49 documentary, and not just then the I-46 one.
Yeah, the I-46 documentary, it's almost going to be the promo for I-49. Let's be honest, at this moment in time.
Am I saying ETC a lot? Like Zep
you're saying ETC, yeah. Instead of etc., you're saying ETC. That's just kind of what you do. It's okay. Like I don't mind, but
no, but it sounds like people pick on it. I don't know. Sorry,
everyone has their own things, man. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Also, hopefully that people like on that side really get their shit together, to be fair. Because coming over and then sitting there and filming the stuff, it's all really noble and honorable, but then you really have to do something with it. And if you need help, like if you sit in front of this 300 gigabytes of video material and you can't do it on your own, there are people out there that can help you, and then you have to reach out, but really to just bunker it, it's not that cool. I didn't like that idea.
Can I jump in there? Like, sorry, CanFo, but like that.
I just wanted to go back to the original question.
I don't think the movie or the. I'm going in. Shut up, CanFo. But like the the I-46 movie. I don't think that's really what I was getting at. Sure, Ips has a strong feeling about it, but I mean, like, we didn't make any new business relationships after I-46 off the back of that. The movie would help, sure, but like nobody is reaching out. And like I say, I'm not reaching out, but I wish I could inspire someone to do that. To like
How do you want to do
talk
it?
to
Do you want to
all.
use?
I have no idea. You
Do
know,
you
I'm,
want to
I'm
use
someone with
Turbo
business.
Monkey's iPhone videos that he made on the TF2 steps? Go to his sponsor, say, "Look, that's the awesome crowd that was cheering for this event deadline." Like you have to present the numbers and the footage. And if you don't have the footage, but you have just blank numbers, then you can't create this. Like you can't show them the sort of spirit that the European TF2 community has there at these events. And that's basically, that would be the sort of the point that I would pitch to them, to say this community wants to help. They fundraise people over there, look at the awesome crowd that was the coverage that was made, but there's none. Like we don't see it.
Yeah.
Okay, I stand corrected.
CanFo?
You're right.
I agree. What we need to understand to bring in more sponsors is that what sponsors actually want, and that's of course exposure. And you get that not only by winning tournaments, but also by having a character. Like I think Zaibatsu understands that really well. You have all players who are very well known, who are outspoken, who just have faces, and I think that's important.
I think it's one of the main reasons why we decided to make Fully Charged in Europe as well, right? Is to just get some character into the European scene, because we don't really have that. Like we have like 2 or 3 streamers that are quite active. If I'm thinking, like we have like Baitu's reasonably active, and then we have Nomlock Cadis, myself. But apart from that, like I don't think people have ever seen your face, CanFo, for example. People don't know that Admirable is bald at this moment in time, right? They don't know that, right? And this is what I'm saying, and this was one of the main reasons why we decided about 2 weeks ago, you know what, screw it, let's do this, is because we're lacking personalities. I can see Bloodsire going on Fully Charged, trash talking everyone, and people are like, "Oh, that's Bloodsire. That's the trash talker guy, right?" Like, and after this episode, people are going to be like, "That Ips guy. He trash talks all the time about the I-46 documentary." You make characters. You make characters, and with that, you reach exposure quite quickly. You reach fans, and as you said, Saibatsu actually with the YouTube channel doing a very good job. That's just kind of the way it is. What do you have a new link for that, by the way, Ips? Because I do actually want to post that in chat. Because obviously it's not Crackline anymore. What's the new link to your
Some
like, I
link,
guess you can link it in chat yourself. You can link it.
People know about it. It's cool. I don't need this right now. It's cool.
Perfect.
I got it covered.
But either way, I think personally, and I've said this on my stream before, I think there's one thing that Valve can do to help us before the tournament and not after the tournament. And that's one button. That's kind of the thing that's been going on.
Show me the money.
We're literally all that Valve kind of needs to do. You know how you have like the TF2 screen, right? And you basically your, I said basically twice, where your console is usually with like the scout image. If you just put right there, you put some sort of banner, the I-49 tournament intel for basically World Championships for Team Fortress 2 is live right now. Click here. What if Valve would add that during the weekend of I-49?
Well, they won't. They already ruled it out.
Yeah, but
when Sal and Eckstein visited them, because they are afraid that if they link a stream, that the streamers put content on there, nudity, profanity, whatever, which they don't support. And
couldn't Valve just contact Vanilla TV, Team Fortress TV multiplayer at that moment in time and be like, "Hey, we're not going to do it unless, but if you put nudity there, then we're just going to take it." Like, is that? I mean, that's not too much to ask, is it? Like,
well, it's basically like Cos 420 just said in chat. They don't control the content, so they won't endorse it. They don't do it for Dota 2 either, I think. Although
they don't need it.
Yeah.
They do it to an extent, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they also they promoted I-46 as well on their blog, and put all the links in there, but not in the game.
Come on, dude! Like, seriously, how many people are going to read
that
and be like, "This is not about hats"? Throw it away.
Like, well, I don't think that's true. There are a lot of people who read the blog or the Team Fortress 2 news and subscribe to the Team Fortress 2 Facebook page. For example, the TF2 Mix-Up page went down after Valve promoted them on their blog because of the traffic. So it can have an effect. And it helps. Every little bit obviously helps.
James, you look like you were about to say something. sort of opened your mind. You're kind of like, nah, I'm not gonna.
Nice, just making funny faces again.
Just catching flies, man. Just catching flies. Yeah, it'd be nice if Valve helped this, but they're not going to help us until the competitive game mode pleases them, until they've changed it a little bit. You heard what Rob Walker said.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Like, it's not going to change what's going on in sixes at the minute, but it's great. I know that's a whole other topic, but it is great that they're showing interest. And props to Sal and X-Time for doing that.
We're probably going to talk about that somewhere in the near future when it's closer to being released. Because I felt like personally, right? Like I made the topics. I'm officially hosting the show, so I made the topics, and I decided, you know what? It's already been a couple of weeks, right? So let's just let that go for a little bit and save it for a later moment when it's a little bit more now, basically. Let's just switch over, guys. Let's just
wait. Sorry.
Well,
I've got one thing to say about that.
All right,
I was in an email thread with Sal and X-Time and Enigma just before they were going and they were asking for questions, and I got them to ask a Valve straight from Europe, why can't we have a higher FOV and pick map settings and stuff like that, pick map? And they basically came back and said that that's something they won't be changing because they don't want like people to see an ugly game on the stream and stuff like that. So there you have it. There you have it. Final verdict from Robin Walker's own mouth.
Is that like the Robin Walker answer?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Darn is going to be happy with that. That's for sure.
Darn doesn't care anymore, I think.
I think he's gone. But whatever. We'll have to wait and see about that, ladies and gentlemen. Last thing.
The funny thing is basically they are allowing a higher FOV by allowing people to set custom resolutions or by allowing them to use Affinity setups.
Yeah, well, it's sort of inconsistent, but you know, that's like it's such a minority case. How many people are using Affinity setups or playing with Oculus Rift,
it's
whatever?
One of the best.
And
really fit as well. I'm just running around in my living room the whole day on Badlands.
I want to see Oculus Rift competitive one day.
Yeah, imagine like you have the multiplayer stage and you have like those two teams sitting right there, Costas in the middle, and all 12 players plus the two casters, all Oculus Rift right there, just running around, just talking and shouting. It would be great.
Somebody just said in chat there, actually, Valiant Carrot says he thinks a more Quake-esque looking game would benefit the game, and that might be true in some ways, because if you take away all the like graphical splendor, what you have to focus on what the players are actually doing in it. Maybe can we pitch that one to you, Valve? Let us have a competitive.
Like he also says competitive gamers don't play games for them to be pretty. Yeah, but with a game like Team Fortress 2 that is so based around the public community, you want the game to be looking as much like they know the game, right? Does that make sense when I say that? And that with like, of course, if you make the game look like Quake, then it's not gonna look like the game looks to a lot of public players. Like I know there's a lot of custom HUDs around there that even the regular pub stars, if I want to call them like that, use. But still, right? It's still gonna change a lot.
But if they made like a competitive mode, like a graphics setting competitive,
that'd be sick.
Or it was all like white walls and stuff, and it looked sharp, but it obviously wasn't the game they'd originally set out with their art style. Like you're peeling back a layer of complexity there, then maybe people will start to focus more on the maneuvers of teams and stuff like that, rather than, oh, look at that, that's pretty.
So what you would like in like the options you want to have like on one side you want to have like regular mode and then competitive mode, like you want to have a switch between the two.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've got a real point here, but I'm just vibing off what this guy said. It's actually something. Whenever there was the old beta on the Steam forums that a lot of competitive players were invited to a few years ago, that was something I requested, but they never really took that one up. We did get the direct hit though, so thanks Moose for that one.
And then it was broken for who knows. I actually spoke about this today on my stream about medics. When a direct hit first got out, medics jumped once. You guys remember? Not even launched into the air, just got insta-shotted by direct hits over and over again. On
stairs as well.
Yeah, on stairs. You'd walk down and like clip the little edge of it and you got air shotted. I remember that. That was pretty broken, I'm not gonna lie. Either way, one more thing before we're gonna move on into like the general sort of consensus about ETF12 this season in season 15. I want to know about Crackclan. Ips, I know you're not going to give me an official statement, but did you leave them or did they leave you?
we have to hold out a bit, like go back to the past and explain a bit what James and me did with Cracklen to come back to this point, because a lot of people don't know about the background stuff and what the initial ideas were, etc. So what was it, like 1 year ago, James, after I-43, that we started to throw the team together? I-46. Was it I-46?
Yeah, it was sort of during that summer,
I-46,
and then
yeah.
it came together after I-46.
And we threw together the team. It was back then with Red Shark, and even FaceTap was involved, etc. And we just played, like our first season we just played, and then after Red Shark left and we got other people in, we started to get a closer and closer connection to the CEO of Crackland Docs, and he had really nice ideas about business models that you basically create revenue for the brand, and that will directly benefit the teams because you create exposure, obviously you create content, so it just helps on every front. You help the game because there's constant content about the game on YouTube, you help people getting better, you create a bit of money, and you just brand yourself as well. Like we said before, branding yourself is really important as well. CanFo said that, and that we are really good at that. And that is because we have been one of the, I think we're the first actually fully accessible teams in Premiership TF2 ever. Like we really raised the bar to when it came down to provide content and just people being able to see our scrims at all. And I can relate to that. When I started to get better at TF2, everything that was happening in the high tiers of TF2 was always happened behind closed curtains, right? Like the scrims were happening on the servers. You had absolutely no idea about strategies and how people call, what they focus on, etc. And then this whole streaming thing in TF2 started to evolve, and with that in our back, basically we started to have team streams, etc. So now we're basically 1 year in. We had some personal goals, each of us, that we wanted to achieve with this, like benefits, obviously, not, a benefit in the end. And we said over the last couple of, let's say, before James left to have his break, etc., we started to have a bit of different mindsets to what the organization wants to do with us and what we want to do, right? The direction it should go. And on Monday we sat down with Docs and we had a really nice chat. It was like, I think we spoke about it for like 1.5 hours about where we failed. Is TF2 the right game? Do people even want an accessible team? Do they care about the content that you produce, etc? Because, like, you know how long it took us to get people like subscribing to our YouTube or upvoting our content on Reddit, etc, right? You can't just, it takes a lot to make the TF2 community care. And we said that a lot of stuff worked and a lot of stuff doesn't work, and what are we focusing on now? And we're focusing on just, I said to him personally, with the stuff that is happening in my family soon and James not being around to help me with the secretary part of the whole and the management part of the team, I can't really fully commit to the stuff that it takes to be fully accessible. You saw it, like this season we barely uploaded STVs, etc, and logs, etc. I said it again, sorry, now I focus on it.
No, about 100 times already. It's fine.
Oh,
it's fine.
Yeah, you saw it already, like that we didn't really did that anymore, and it's just something that we don't want to do. Like we raised the bar so high that we don't want to sell ourselves underneath our standards now. So we decided it's not worth it. Like we don't do what we promised the organization, and the organization therefore can't provide what we want them to provide us, because we are obviously not creating a lot of exposure anymore with not creating content. Jesus Christ.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
So we said it's cool. Like we just stop here. Everything is paid for. We have the stuff that we need to get our guys to LAN. Every win that we made with this team, every season winning, the hardware price went into funding Twig to LAN, for example. And yeah, so we said, we have a benefit in the end. There's some money on the table that we worked for. We performed in the game, so we have it. We don't need to do this anymore if we see we can't do it. And I know, like, this Kaneko guy, he's in his chat right now, and he's also on our dicks on vanilla. But there's really no drama between the guys. He wants there to be drama, and he wants to know everything. But the stuff that really goes down stays between these guys, and then that's it. And what people always feel like, we see a lot of about like sponsorship and organization. Crackline is a community with a great spirit. It is a community in the end, right? And now we are basically like, we're talking to multiple organizations. We pitched for one, another one pitched for us, and I'm just basically in talks with them.
Any high-profile names?
Yeah, all of them.
CanFo knows. I see CanFo. Who's been speaking to CanFo, guys?
I did. CanFo is
I
part.
know one name, but
CanFo was part of our pitch. We have a lot of we had some known ATF12 and TF2 personas speaking out for us in our pitch. Byte was involved, Lang, Numlock was involved, who was a great help. Slick offered us to get in contact with sponsors. Like, these guys always all care about us getting and finding a new home, which I really appreciate. And CanFo was also helping us there, so it's cool. Like, we're going somewhere. We don't want to just be 6 loose people going to LAN. That's why we're looking for an organization. Like I said, we have what we need to go to LAN. We want to be part of something and just have the feeling to fight for someone. You know the feeling? I mean, like, get your clan shirt on and fight for something, yeah. And that's it. That's the whole reason.
Are you
It's really not that cool.
Did Blight Gaming pitch for you?
Blight Gaming indeed.
Sorry, Skyridge, for stealing a joke there.
Oh, I like it. No. Either way. Is the team, has the organizations that you are in talks with right now, if they've been involved in TF2 before, are they new?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay, right. So we'll be able to see something into the future, guys. Now let's round that up. Obviously, enough about Clan with regards to that. I think that pretty much spills the entire thing. I want to talk for about 15 minutes, guys. It's not going to go on for too much longer. Don't worry about it. We started about 15 minutes late, so we're gonna make the 90 minutes full, which was kind of the goal for this very first episode. I want to talk about ETF12 because the fact that Viaduct got involved was actually a very much debated topic, more so than keeping gravel pit in or turbine in or freight. In my opinion, at least, I think Viaduct's decision was very much so a contested one. And apart from that, we've obviously seen the change to 5 maps, not 6, not 7, or just a regular 5 maps, very standard. And I kind of just want to know what everyone has been thinking of the season so far. Nothing spectacular, but season 15 to me, to come out and give my opinion, I think has been one of my favorite seasons so far because I've been involved more than anything else. I've been casting a buttload for seeing the season progress, and obviously CanFo, to go straight off to you. How's the season been for you so far?
I was surprised that there was next to no drama prior to the season regarding decisions the admins made for unlocks or maps. I don't think Viaduct was really that contested. There was pretty much nobody who complained about it. It's been all well received. The season is competitive. We got 3 teams with 30 points on top of the table of the Premiership division right now. I'm really happy how it turned out. We had at least 1,000 euros of prize money again. We have a hardware sponsor. I'm looking forward to the next season.
Yeah.
That's it? Really?
What's going to happen? I have a question though. What is
well? Like, there's really not much to say. There was no drama. Sorry for cutting you off there.
Okay.
Is this
just
like
talk over me, guys? No worries.
No.
So anyway, I was saying.
Let's just cut Pledge out of this. CanFo, are you dropping out of ETF12 administration completely, or will you be?
I heard something like that.
What is happening to ETF12 administration? Is it going to be Sonny then?
Sonny Black and EMB are going to stay. I'm going to leave as soon as I can be sure that all my tasks are taken care of. That's going to take another few weeks or month. I don't know. But yeah, then I'm going to drop out eventually.
You have a good summer planned? You're on vacation?
Actually, I want to finish university.
He's planning our road trip to I-49 for like 3 months already, right, with food stops and piss breaks, everything. You won't believe it.
You guys gonna road trip again? Like I did that with you guys to I-43.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. That's great. I had so much fun. It took us forever, but it was good.
Yeah.
Either way, James, you've recently come back. How is Viaduct feeling to you? Is it a good addition to the map pool?
Well, I heard Zebasai say in an interview recently that there's no tactics for Viaduct. I thought that was pretty interesting because I think there is some, but it's definitely been great to see if you could do it and learn from it. I mean, there's a lot of flank play goes on, and I think that's going to benefit people in their 5CP maps as well. But yeah, short answer, I like Viaduct. I think we can definitely write it out for another season or two. Maybe people get bored of it if they think it's simplistic, but I'd like to see some more 5CP maps coming in. I wanted to see Metalworks this season, but that
yeah.
didn't
Me
happen.
too.
Metalworks
Actually.
is being played quite often now in the double mixes or invite pucks, and people really enjoy it, like most of them. So I really hope that we see it next season and we get Granary out of the map pool.
Is it Granary that everyone is feeling like, please get rid of it? Because
Biggest
I've heard a
ace
lot of bad
ever.
things about Snakewater as well,
Well, Snake
which I
has like
personally don't
some
agree.
sort
I
of
like Snake. I like Snake. So.
yeah. Snake has a fast mid, and everything happens within like 10 seconds. There's so much ring around the rosies in Granary, and everyone is hiding behind a crate or trying to get through some med pack or disappearing in a ramp room. No, I hate the map. And if you lose that fight that I was just describing, then you lose the whole round. So it's really weird. I don't like the map at all.
Something interesting that came out of the Sal and X thing going to Valve was that they talked about things that were wrong with Vannery or Granary, like spawns and little ledges and stuff like that. And Valve actually emailed them back later. I think this was posted on the threads, but Valve were really interested to hear about changes like this. So I love Granary, sorry, but there definitely are some changes that could be made to change the flow, like even adding that little wooden platform and the door into the ramp room was a big change from years and years of boring Granary stalemates. But if anybody's got a good idea, maybe pass it on to
Well,
Sal and X Time.
I like the Granary
Symmetry.
Pro version, the mid. Like just that you have this one open choke where you can have fast rollout, soldier initiation plays, or flanks happening already. Like if you keep in mind in what ways in the choke points that you enter or leave Granary mid, it's every time just a small door, and you don't really have that on any other map. Like if you keep in mind Badlands, you have the choke you can just jump through to avoid damage. You can go through Valley. You have the choke points in House again, but you can just avoid them, and it's that's why I don't like this thing, because it enforces stalemates, or like it either is a really dry and stalemate game when the teams are like not losing medics at mid and know when to pull out, or it's a complete roll. And so for me, it doesn't never really measure the true skill of a team, and you can't really see them competing against each other.
With regards
I
to
think,
unlocks,
I think,
James, if there's anything else you want to pitch in with regards to that, obviously we'll go to unlocks in a bit.
I disagree with it as usual. But I think these maps like Granary, Turbine, Gravel Pit, where the one mistake can change the entire outcome of a game. I think that's good in some ways. I don't want to play them every day or every week, but I like that there's maps that are paced differently. Some maps are suit other classes better, or will punish you really hard because
How
it
can
really
you like a
tests your
map
teamwork.
where one mistake loses you the whole round, and you're known for doing a lot of mistakes?
That's intense, man. That's
How can
intense.
you like that? You want to be able to have a last
It
defense at
feels
least.
like, let's be
I like a
honest, right?
challenge. Yeah, I like a challenge.
It kind of feels, and I don't know if it feels like Gravel Pit. It feels like playing a best of one in a grand final. It's always just kind of like, well, if you're not good at this map, well, you're terrible. You're just gonna lose. And like, of course, there's a little bit of risk to it, and there's a little bit of professionalism that goes into just practicing that game. But very clearly, if you set one toe wrong, you're dead. And yes, it is cool and extremely tense to an extent, but I'm not really sure. I've never really liked Gravel Pit myself personally.
I like to play these maps. I hate to cast them. That's the truth of it. That's just my personal preference. That's how I'm made. That's how I'm wired up. But
I've heard the
yeah,
fact
I
that
agree with
Viaduct is
it as
different.
well.
I heard Viaduct is the exact opposite. Hate to play them, love to cast them.
There's just a lot of things happening on Viaduct, contrary to Gravel Pit, where you just build Uber for 50 seconds and then you attack and then you retreat and then you build Uber again.
Is that not TF2 in a nutshell?
Well, yeah.
The mechanics are quite nice of it. I'm not gonna lie. I quite enjoy it. I don't know.
I think we need to explore it more. But that's all I gotta say.
It's not perfected yet in Europe. We can say that for sure. But the general consensus is there. Like I learned a lot from casting with Spin over the past couple of weeks. He's been so informing to me. Like the whole thing about like the spawns and stuff like that. It's all been a little bit weird to me to listen and stuff like that. But in all honesty, it's been interesting. I quite like it. Okay, so unlocks. Are there any Gunboats fans here that are going to be like, yes, I'm so glad they got added? Like, CanFo made you probably made the decision in the end, right? Where it was just like Gunboats or
No, he wasn't.
Escape Plan. Who made the call? Who made the call and said, you know what, screw it, we're doing it? Was it James?
James just pointing at himself. Wow.
James helped a lot, yes, but
And I did too.
Yes, you helped a lot too, but in the end, it was a decision of the collective. It's
a democratical vote.
Not exactly a vote, but you feel the swings, what the admins think, what the players think, and
you will feel the swings soon.
The turning point for me was like I was doing these sort of fact-finding missions where I would go into like a Prem Team's mumble and ask them a bunch of questions. And there was one in particular, this was like before season 14, where I was talking to Epsilon, and like Gear and Shocky were like, yeah, why don't we just add more unlocks? That would be awesome. And whenever I heard like the best team wants to play with unlocks, that was when I knew like this is the way it had to be. So I just kept gathering more information from the Prem teams and used that to persuade the admins. But obviously it was nothing to do with me.
And
I just greased the wheels.
It's been a good call, let's be honest, because I think the European meta has just speeded up like a madman. And we're just like the gameplay is just speeded up with the addition of the gunboats and obviously the rollouts that are a little bit more perfect and refined. And
for me, is the big factor. Unlocks is the big factors why Americans came over into the European system and still played against us as if they would use their unlocks, and why they destroyed us, because they were used to a much more ballsier way of playing soldier, right? Like the gunboat soldiers can play without dying when they're not with the medic. Their scouts then, because soldiers can play more aggressive, have to play tighter to the medic and play with heals. The demo is not necessarily the heal target number one anymore, and that's changed so much in this short period of time in Europe already. Yeah. You can see it progressing. The game is so much so awesome to play now. It's so speedy, it's so fast, and it's just good. It changed the game a lot, and it changed the mindset of people. Like, soldiers realize that they have to jump in and just die for the teams at the time, instead of like derping around somewhere and shooting rockets around the corner. And that's a big problem that I have with ETF2L personally. I've communicated that tons and tons of times when I was in the PR staff, in the forums. This league itself is community run, right? And we don't have a big company behind us. We have nothing to lose because of that. People will not, like, when we make a misstep, people will not turn their backs on us and be like, okay, well, they fucked up and I paid my fees and the league is awful now, so I'm not coming back and pay them next time. That's not the case. Like, people will stay, but we are so slow in making decisions and just being like, okay, this might be a bad move. I have to risk it and see how it works. People were so against unlocks. You can't imagine the discussions that James and me had in this admin forums against really high tier TF2 people, honorably admins or whatever they're called, right? To get these unlocks through. And now nobody talks about them being bad anymore. And we're just so afraid of making mistakes. We have nothing to lose. Like, just do it. Get maps in the map pool, see how they work. If they don't work, get them out. But do it. And if ESEA proves us gunboats are good, use them. Don't exaggerate if it's a good decision or not. If there's a map played and it works out, it works. Take it. If there's a map system played with pauses in between so people can talk strategies and people can spend more time just playing on one map a week instead of with us like 2 maps a night then in an official, and it works, why not just taking it? I know the reason why this didn't happen this time. It was like a secretary thing, I think, right? With a North American rule set why it didn't work out for this season.
Yeah, it was a technical thing.
Yeah, exactly.
The league doesn't support 2 maps per week, but at ESA we are going to use the new system.
Exactly. But like it took us like, how long did it take us to get unlocks in? 2 years? Yeah, and that's it's a joke. Like, man, the people that have been good at that time, the people that were good at this time, like the Dawn generation, have made so many horrible mistakes to competitive TF2. It's unbelievable. And ESL, unlocks, mindset overall, and then now they're coming back and asking for higher field of view. It's ridiculous.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, on the note that the Americans have always been superior than the Europeans, we're going to stop the first edition of Fully Charged here for Europe, guys. Thanks for watching. Today on the show, we had Ips, aka Felix Nola, as he's called in Skype. So I'm just going to take that name over. I know your name is Felix. Is Nola your real last name?
I will just pretend and say yes.
Okay, so Felix
Felix
Ipsnola has been
Baumgartner.
here on the show. James Admirable McDonald, Martin CanFo, Pienkamp. I think it was Pienkamp.
I was close.
I was almost correct. Yeah, obviously I can pronounce it German, but let's keep it English for the time being. Thanks for all
Can I give
coming
a
on,
shout out?
James. Yeah, of course. Everyone's getting shout outs. James, shout out, please.
I'd like to shout out to Cube, who just finished his exams. He's going to graduate, hopefully, as a Master of Engineering. So shout out to Cube. Well done.
Well done, Cube. Is Pledge doing pledge shops? What is he doing?
He's going to get a hat, maybe. I
Pledge
don't know.
shops. Pledge shops. Oh, he's
Shout
going to
out
get a head. Wow.
Shout out to Docs as well for putting up with these Crackline guides for so long. Shame it didn't work out. But yeah, shout out to CanFo as well.
Shout
Maybe
out
leaving
to Tunuts for being a good
TF2L.
medic. Thanks, you
Shout out to Tunuts.
I want to give a shout out to Mike from ESA, who could be give the TF2 community a great chance for high-profile tournaments. Of course, my fellow head admins Sonny Black and EMB, who gets way less credit than he deserves. My head admins, of course, yes. And my whole ETFGL stuff. You guys are awesome. Vanilla TV, Team Fortress TV. I always enjoy working with you.
Ips, shout outs.
I did my shoutouts already.
Okay, I didn't hear. Sorry, I was grabbing my hat. We're all going to finish with hats, guys. That's how we do it in Team Fortress 2, don't we?
I'm naked.
Do you have a hat on, though? That's the most important thing.
Nope.
Get a hat.
A sock, at least.
Yes. Let's say goodnight.
So we got a couple of hats, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching here to the very first episode of Fully Charged, the European Team Fortress 2 podcast, with everything about competitive and by competitive players as well, including ourselves, CanFo, the TF2 admin. Thanks for coming on, guys. All thanks for coming on, James. And how much of a regular you're going to be. You're just smiling at the chat almost all the time. I love it. I love it. And Ips, thanks for coming on, obviously, as well. And good luck in your future games against Epsilon and Pro, obviously.
And thanks to Skyride for hosting this.
Yeah. I was actually about to thank him, but no, Skyride was hosting, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a couple of comments saying that it was a little bit long. Other people saying it's a little bit short. I don't know exactly what's up, but 60 to 90 minutes. Like, we've been going for about 19 minutes now as the first episode. Between an hour and a half is something that we kind of like to do. So just be ready for that. 11 p.m. on every Thursday evening, CST. And we'll be going for about an hour to an hour and a half or so. We'll be hosted by me, and the guests and the co-hosts and stuff like that will probably change over time. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, obviously have a great night. Have a good weekend. ESCA is coming up in 3 hours. I think it's 3 hours time, ladies and gentlemen. And there'll be a tweet coming out in just a bit over at Team Fortress TV as well, where you can predict the scores for tonight. You can win some prizes. So please go and do that, guys. Here at twitch.tv/TeamFortressTV. From all of us here at the Fully Charged EU podcast, much love and a very good weekend. Bye.
Bye.